Beginning with Jimmy's appearance on Monday Night Raw, we talked about how likely it was that this would occur in the plot, and it did happen on Raw's October 14th episode, which included a ton of new teasers for what might happen next. It all began when Jay entered his locker room and discovered Jimmy waiting to speak with him. When Jimmy asks Jay if he has a moment, Jay quickly turns around and leaves the room. Jimmy searches every room in the passageways for Jay until he eventually locates him once more. Jay declines Jimmy's request to listen to him and urges him to stop bothering him. It was their final conversation of the evening, and clearly it didn't go as Jimmy had hoped. Jimmy believed that he would simply stop by Raw and speak with Jay to make things right, but time hasn't healed this wound, and Jay remains extremely dissatisfied with Jimmy for all that has transpired between them since last summer. As we previously said, Jimmy's words alone won't be sufficient to bring Jay back, even if he were to come to Raw and attempt to patch things up. It won't be that simple, and perhaps Jimmy has realized that, following his Raw appearance on October 14th, he will need to come up with a novel and intricate strategy to persuade Jay to at least listen to him. They did provide a hint as to what Jimmy's new plan would include. On Raw's October 21st episode, Jay and Bron Breakker will square off once more in an Intercontinental Championship contest. Additionally, Bron Breakker spoke extensively about Jay's family during a promotional segment that hyped up the battle. Bron claimed that he didn't have to utilize his own family name to establish himself in the business, but he chastised Jay for stealing his family's name and heritage throughout his career. Bron even chastised Jay for some of the incidents that occurred between Jay and the Bloodline. During the commercial, one of Bro's final statements was that Jay's family cannot protect him from what he is going to do to him. The fact that Bron focuses on Jay's family and how they are unable to save him during the Intercontinental title match seems to be a major hint that what Bron is discussing will actually happen during the match. Jimmy must adapt to a new plan because Jay doesn't want to talk to him at all. Furthermore, it appears like Bron's remarks to Jay may be strongly hinting at the possibility of Jimmy coming out during the Intercontinental title bout to try to assist Jay against Bron based on the context clues they contain. In an effort to win Jay back and demonstrate his willingness to support him, Jimmy would do something similar. Jay's family won't save him, according to Bron, but Jimmy is here to try to do just that. However, this is where Jimmy's plot takes a new turn because there are numerous ways Jimmy may unexpectedly appear and support Jay in defending his title against Bron Breakker. However, Jay might still be angry with Jimmy even if he is successful in defeating Bron. Jay is a massive babyface champion who doesn't want to defend his championship against Bron via the traditional Bloodline rules cheating techniques. If Jay is going to defend his championship, he wants to do it directly without any outside assistance or intervention. This is especially important in light of what Bro just said, as Jay wants to demonstrate to him that he is more than capable of standing on his own 2 feet without the support of his family. That's why it could enrage Jay even more if Jimmy shows up out of the blue to assist him. The negative conclusion is the alternative path for a Jimmy interference to take. When you really think about it, it's sort of impossible for Jimmy to win in this position. Jimmy comes out to aid Jay, and perhaps they have a small argument. Then, the Bron Breakker takes advantage of the diversion from Jimmy to dethrone Jay. It's likely that Jay will be upset if he helps him defend the crown, and Jay will be furious if he unintentionally costs him the crown. Therefore, regardless of the result, Jimmy is really putting himself in a difficult situation if he comes out during that match. Jimmy may have to come up from a deeper hole if his outside meddling doesn't work out. If Jimmy turns out to be the cause of Jay losing his first ever Intercontinental title, it will be difficult to imagine a scenario in which Jay will forgive Jimmy. There is only one scenario that may make Jay more sympathetic to Jimmy. If Solo learns of Jimmy's plans and sends some of his men to Raw to stop Jimmy, they somehow end up costing Jay the Intercontinental title. Now, that's the situation where Jay will target Solo's gang with all of his resentment and anger about losing his title. Since Solo's group was the cause of the early end of Jay's first singles rule, he would now have new justification to target them. It's simply something to be aware of. Jay's family was heavily highlighted by Braun in his promo, which suggests that some of them may be present during the Intercontinental title fight. It's possible that some family members are trying to assist him, while there may be those out there who want to take advantage of him. In any case, it appears that Jay and Braun's match will significantly advance the story of Jay getting back together with his original bloodline. Speaking of the bloodline, someone in The Rock's Instagram comments section asked him if the rumors were true that he can't work WrestleMania 41. The Rock responded to the individual himself and said not to listen to those reports. So not a direct answer from The Rock, but it's an answer that definitely seems to heavily imply that he will in fact be at WrestleMania in April. A lot of fans feel like this upcoming WrestleMania is the perfect opportunity for the company to capitalize on whatever match they wanna have. With the current situation between The Rock, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns, fans were fearful of the reports that The Rock will miss WrestleMania 41 because that would mean that everything would have to be put on hold until WrestleMania 42. But The Rock's comment there does give everyone hope that he'll be back in the ring in April for whatever match they end up doing. This week on Raw, Jax and Stratton had yet another awkward encounter. It turns out that Jax was there herself toward the end of the main event. She ran out to clear the scene of everyone in the ring and actually did Tiffany a favor. Jax had sent Tiffany there to deliver a message to everyone. Liv Morgan was completely put out by Jax to provide the ideal cash-in scenario for Tiffany. Tiffany took a moment to realize what was going on, but she went to retrieve the case and use it on Liv. However, Dominic saved the day for Liv by removing her from the ring. The questionable aspect of this situation was Tiffany's hardly noticeable interest in invoking the contract against Liv Morgan. It seemed as though Tiffany was already focused on using it against Jax, so she wasn't really aware that Liv had passed out. However, the portion was excellent since it proves that the contract applies to both world champions. Naturally, Jax attempted to prevent her own reign from becoming a victim of the bargain by giving Tiffany Liv on a silver platter, but Tiffany was simply too slow at this particular juncture. It appears that the contract will still be relevant during the Crown Jewel match. The question is, if Tiffany uses it, which champion will she ultimately pin? However, what do you think of the stories from today? Please share your thoughts below. Remember to subscribe with all alerts enabled, and hit like if you liked it. Thank you for viewing.